Today we have a real talent in our studio. Singer, songwriter, producer, Maro. Born and raised in Lisbon, she was classically trained from a young age, but her music was never meant to stay inside one genre. Billie Eilish said that Maro's song, We've Been Loving in Silence, was her soundtrack during COVID. When I think about her music, I think about a sound that's expansive yet intimate. I think jazz, folk, pop, electronic, but it's always unmistakably Maro. She's toured with Jacob Collier, performed twice on NPR's Tiny Desk concerts where they describe her voice as captivating as birds who sing in sync. She's collaborated with legends like Eric Clapton and released more than 8 albums since she launched her career. Now that's the definition of hustle. Now she's featured on Patrick Watson's new record and will open for Shawn Mendes on his European tour. But even as the stages grow, Maro stays rooted in her craft and in her sense of self. She's uniquely Portuguese, and her first song proves it. More on that later. Let's get into this. Vamos. Let's go. Maro.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Wow, I almost cried to that intro. Very pretty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really do try to understand and get to the core of who our guests are, because I often tell people that think, we're at Espresso, right? It's journalism, but I'm not a journalist, right? So this isn't about gotchas. Yeah. This is about stories, and your story is an incredible story.
Thank you.
And your work ethic is incredible, and I think it's a reference for a generation. So kudos to you, and I'm really grateful that you accepted this invitation.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excited for the talk.
So let's, we're recording this in person here in Lisbon, which is always great. We do these both remote and in person, and we worked hard to try to get to do this in person. This is where you grew up, right? Lisbon.
Yeah. My whole life. And then at 20, moved abroad. But I keep coming back, kind of like a real Portuguese.
You can't leave.
Yeah, you can't ever leave.
So this isn't home for you now, though?
No, I'm currently living in LA. Yeah.
Got it.
But it's still, like we were just talking, it's still, I feel like it's always going to be home. Even if I have, move permanently, there's this whole, go back for the grandparents and parents and siblings and cousins and Portuguese, big families.
Family, long lunches, lots of food, right?
Lots of food, yes.
Lots of drink.
Yeah, well,
right?
Yeah. Good wine.
Good wine, exactly. How often do you come back?
It's been, basically, I always try and take advantage of, if sometimes I have shows or tours, and exactly kind of try and make a stop kind of here, because it is still expensive to, especially LA, Lisbon, it's so far away that it becomes harder to, let me just go and spend the weekend or something. That doesn't really happen. But for example, this year, I think it's going to be about 4 or 5 times, which is incredible. I know I have some friends that for 2 years don't see their family. So
that makes you happy.
Yeah.
I see you smiling as
you're
saying
yeah.
that.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Because for me, that was, you're talking about hustle. And for me, that was one of the hard things from the beginning. I was very focused on, I want to do this and this and this and this, but there's always but I miss home and I miss my family and all these things. And so now to be able to get to come a little more often than before, it feels so great. It's a gift, really. Yeah.
We need to get you to move to New York so that the flight is a little easier
exactly.
to get here. Yeah.
Well, maybe at some point live in 4 or 5 different places. Just yeah, maybe. Well, yeah. I guess there are always opportunities, whether it's for touring or recording something, or even now, like I'm here because I had some recordings to do or like a show, and so then it's like, okay, if I'm gonna go, then maybe I take a little extra
more
time. Exactly. Yeah. Instead of staying for a week and do it all, maybe I stay for 2 and I can space out the things and kind of enjoy in between.
And do a podcast.
Exactly. Exactly.
What do you miss, other than your family and friends? What do you miss the most
And
about
food,
Portugal?
right?
Food?
I think just we really have a beautiful, city, because we're in Lisbon now and that's where I grew up, but also just country and how welcoming people are and all this. Well, at least as a Portuguese person, I've always felt that there's this kind of like, yeah, come in and
Openness, right?
Yeah, kind of the non-ceremony that we say. I always explain that to my foreign friends, kind of
you don't really need to call.
Yeah.
You just show up.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a bit, and yeah, I kind of like that. And also that it's such a small country, really, and the more abroad you are, and I'm sure you know this, when I come back, I realize that it is really tiny. Like you run into the same people and in the street, and it's very easy to actually meet and do things. And now living in LA, sometimes like, do you want to go for coffee? It's like, it's an hour 20 drive, maybe some other time.
Well, it's actually like, well, what time?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right?
It changes.
Changes, right?
There's sometimes routes that
West Hollywood to Santa Monica at noon or 4 o'clock.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow, exactly. So I like that
or
as well.
Or meet me halfway.
Meet me halfway.
Yeah. I say that Portugal, you have the Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation, but Portugal, it's 2. Everybody knows somebody. You walk in, you bump into somebody in the street.
Yeah. But I like that.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the things I
you miss
miss
that community and connection here.
Yeah.
You grew up in Lisbon, but you were just telling me that we have something in common, and that is that you have roots in the north of Portugal.
Yes.
And you pay a visit back to your ancestral little village every once in a while. Is that right?
Yeah, every year, really. And actually, a few of my records were made there as well, because
For real?
It's so much in the north and kind of middle of nowhere that, for example, the last record I released with Nazaya, this incredible French producer, we actually went in 2020. We took, I think, 10 days and went to this little place. And
where is it?
Vilarandil. It's in between Chaves and Valpaços.
Right.
We were just talking about it. And just, winter time, have the fireplace on. So in some songs you can really kind of hear the fire crackling.
Oh, I'm gonna listen hard now.
And we really, the what we released just now, kind of 90% was made back then, and so, or 80%. But it's really a cool place to kind of go and be immersed and just have fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I keep going, beautiful. Not just for the summer and family, but
I knew we were kindred spirits. I mean.
It's all in the north.
My wife's family is from Chaves, so there we are.
I love Chaves.
So your music is so special. Was music uniquely yours growing up, or was it something that was shared with your family? Like, I'm curious where the DNA comes from.
Well, we did. My siblings and I studied music in a like conservatory type like school. And because my mom's a music teacher.
Your mom's a music teacher.
Yeah. And she had this rule kind of where, because she's big on the whole, all the benefits that music has on kids. And so when you're growing up and like all the things that music actually gives you, really. So it was more of it's going to be good for you. Yeah, no pressure. You don't need to do anything with it. It's just more like you do up until 9th grade, because that's also school, and it's just because it's good for you, and then you can quit and go do your thing. And so that's how it started. And I realized that I loved ear training and everything. It was like, I was good at it, and it made so much sense. And I loved playing. The studying part was a bit like, oh no, I want to go play, soccer and just skate and all these things.
You wanted to be a kid.
I wanted to be a kid, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I still was a kid. It's just more. Sometimes I would resist it a bit, and even kind of growing up, sometimes I remember telling my mom like, I'm never gonna do music. Why do I have to do this? And now it's funny because I look back, I'm like so grateful that she made us do it, And while I had that in the kind of formation side of it from our mom. Our dad also is a big music lover and plays a bit of guitar, and he was always putting music in the car and at home and showing all these, like Nick Drake and Joni Mitchell and the Beatles, and also music from Madagascar or like India or like the Bulgaria and all these different things that we're growing up listening to Zeca Afonso or João Afonso. Like there was this exposure to amazing music from the whole world.
And did you love it?
I loved it. Yeah. I remember there's a record. I was just talking about like Bulgarian music, the Balkan Choir, a record called Le Mystère des Voix, like the mystery of the Bulgarian voices, I guess. And there's this first track called Kaval Sviri that I remember because it was the first track my dad put it. I remember I cried the first time. I was so impacted by what is this? You felt it. Yeah, and then I remember asking him if I could keep the CD for a while, and then I was just listening to it in loop, the whole thing, and learned all the songs, and I was just so wow. So yeah, I think everything really that our parents showed us really stayed with me, and interestingly enough, I don't think I ever had stuff that my dad would show, for example, that I would be like, I'm not very into this, so. Which is interesting because I could not be into it. So
you were also open.
Yeah, I think because I was so interested, and maybe because I do think that my dad has really great taste, and my mom as well. I mean, for example, Tracy Chapman for me is my mom in the car, and there's these moments with these amazing artists that take me to moments with my parents that is just priceless. So maybe also has some nostalgic thing, like maybe
You're
love
such
music.
A Saudista.
Yeah, I'm Portuguese. I think we all have it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What so it was Tracy Chapman in the car with your mother, and it was this Bulgarian.
With my dad, yeah, it was everything. Honestly, I mean, all the Brazilian classics and even stuff that was a bit more underground, and it was just honestly very, very wide exposure to.
Do you think we'll get into the? I call your music genre bending
Cool.
because it's hard. Like it's hard for me to describe when I, say, "Oh, I'm interviewing Maro," or "Have you heard Maro?" That people always ask, like, "Well, what kind of music is it?" And I'm like, "Oh, she's just like really talented Portuguese artist that Billie Eilish and Shawn Mendes have praised, and just listen to it and you'll get it." But I it's not jazz. It's not pop.
It's impossible to describe it, I think.
So do you think this exposure to this broad set of music is what made your genre what it is?
For sure. I think, when people ask that, I'm sure, because I also grew up, while all these things were happening, I was also, a kid and then a teenager, and so I grew up listening to Justin Bieber and all, like really, really pop. That, for example, that wouldn't come from my dad, because my dad wasn't, he was still part of the vinyl period where he wasn't, I guess, encompassing.
Hey, I'm still part of the vinyl period.
Yeah, exactly. And but we were exposed, and and suddenly YouTube started, and then all the social media world, and I was also very into that, which is interesting because there's so many different things, and so for sure, when making music, I think because I like so many different things, when I go to the studio or I'm writing, I don't have I don't have boundaries. It's whatever's coming out, I let it be. Or when collaborating, if it's something, it's just about having fun and truly connecting. So as long as I'm not trying to do, so it's been amazing. But exactly, it's like I remember when I started, a lot of people would tell me kind of like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. It's not gonna work out, because then you're gonna, people will be confused and they don't know what you do, and you need to. It's like you need to." Like, what is Maro? And I remember thinking, well, that's Maro. Maro is, that's just what I do. I love so many different things, and I love making so many different things that maybe, no, it's not going to make sense for people now, but maybe in 40 years it will. And so as long as I keep doing what I like and what makes sense for me, I feel like at some point it'll come across, right? Even if it's just for my own sanity. Because if suddenly to work out and for people to understand my thing, I have to stay on a lane and kind of limit myself. And even as an artist, like what does that mean, right? Because being creative is all about kind of not having boundaries. That's the point of creativity.
Color outside the lines, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so more and more I realize, because sometimes I hear things, even for example with this record with Nazaya, that has so much like so many different colors. There was this song that I was listening. I was like, it's so funny that you can tell. Sometimes I would tell this to Nazai and say, because after it comes out naturally and without thinking about it, just having fun, and then we hear it back or we're finishing, final touches, and I'm like, it's so funny that I can tell that I heard a lot of this or a lot of this, or so definitely, the my sound and my sonic world, I guess, is the way it is because I was exposed to so many things that really stayed with me.
Yeah. You could tell. You could tell. And in that vein, you hear so many stories of labels, right, pushing an artist to do a second album in XYZ lane.
Yeah, this sold, so you should do the same. It's like, well, yeah, but if you keep doing the same thing on the fifth record, everybody's bored. So, and even you, right, there's a point of, it's good to reinvent yourself.
I mean, think of Bob Dylan kind of moving away from the acoustic guitar, which was a big issue, right?
It was a big issue. The festival thing that everybody was hating on him. Yeah,
turns out to be the best album, right? His most successful album, and the one I mean, he doesn't talk much, but it seems like it's the best album for him, the best album he ever created.
It ended up working out the best.
It ended up working out. Or Billy Joel. There's a documentary coming out on Billy Joel, 2-part on HBO, which is just really fascinating. But he talks a lot about, the music he was making, the music he wanted to make, how different he was. He was being compared to others, but he plays the piano differently. Like it's a very interesting thing, but forced into it
happens a lot. Yeah, I mean this kind of comments that I would get, it was always from people from labels and kind of industry people. And
look, as business people, I mean, I say this all the time. There's, I was never the creative in the creative business, right? I was the business in the creative business. And when you find the moment of unity and collaboration, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Because that's when it works. But it's hard. It's hard. Right brain,
and
left
I feel
brain.
like sometimes I totally get that if you see that something works, but they're different things. I think if you take an artist that has, their whole self is, then it's good to let it be, because then that's how it's going to work the best. But sometimes I get the whole business view as well of, sometimes there's something that is more of a product that is represented by somebody, and it's like, well, this works, and there's a like a formula, and it kind of works, and if you keep doing the same, it's always going to work. And so then I get that business people are like, well, then do that, but then you should know the difference as a business person. And so if you, at the time I remember, because for me it was so clear that I was not that I remember thinking like, I wonder why they can't see that this is actually what's gonna work in the long run, because it's so myself that at some point I'm sure that's gonna beat anything that is not being myself,
Authenticity is important to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the audience feels it and hears it, right?
Yeah. And for some artists, that's what I was saying, like authenticity is, they found something that works for them and that they really enjoy, and it's sticking with that. And that's also great. Yeah. So exactly, there are different people, there are different artists, and it's about exactly just staying true to what you want to do, I think, more than what you think it'll work. Right. It's like, no, it's what makes you feel like a kid when you're doing it. Yeah. And for me, it has been this. It's like every time I'm doing music or doing these things, you're
smiling while you're doing it.
Yeah. This is fun. It's
the unity of a profession, a passion, and a purpose almost, right?
Exactly.
This coalescence, right?
Exactly. I think that's very sacred. That's what you need to fight for,
Yeah. Now, there's that creative part, and then there's the mechanics of making music, right? And so you went to the conservatory, you then went to Berkeley School of Music, which is an amazing place. It's got a reputation for both rigor and creative freedom, sort of that marriage. How did Berkeley become a place for you?
Well, how did I find out about it?
Yeah, how did you end up there?
Well, I realized at 19, so I guess not that early, but not too late either, that I want to do music, and I was already writing my songs, but it was all kind of in my little secret world. And I think when I realized I wanted to do it, was very clear that I would love to then do my thing, whatever it is. And for me at the time, I think now it's changing, but Portugal was still very classical and jazz, and I knew I didn't really want any of those, extreme. I wanted to do my thing, whatever. And so I started investigating. There's a school in Liverpool that I was into. There's one at some point in, I don't know where it was, like not Minnesota, but also somewhere. There's a few schools, and I kind of, for fun, because I had this epiphany that I wanted to do music at night. And in one of those nights I had to study for, a test next day in school, and I heard the song, and then I got obsessed with the song, and then that's what made me think, like, I always have this where I get obsessed with this song that I find, and then I don't sleep because I'm listening to it in loop, and when I should, and so then the same night I started kind of investigating. I think it became immediately clear, and like I did with other schools, I just kind of applied online to Berkeley, but totally in secret, not telling my parents. It was just very, very impulsive.
You were 19.
Yeah, I was 19, and I ended up getting an email like the day after from Berkeley saying you have an audition in Paris in 2 weeks, which then I was like, uh-oh.
Gotta tell mom and dad.
Gotta tell them. And but I was at a time where exactly I was teaching. I was very independent. I got my motorbike when I was 16. I started like doing my little things, and I always had my, like my money saved. And so it was a bit of like, well, I'll pay for the flight and the audition and stuff, and I'll just do it because why not? And it's very expensive. I would have to get in with a full scholarship. I probably won't even get in, maybe, or if I do, I won't get a scholarship. But I still try. I was at that point where what's the what's the
there
harm?
To lose, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And it was kind of, I was still interested in the Liverpool one, for example, and we went, and the audition went well, and then I got in, with a scholarship, and then things started working out, and then it was just a matter of like, just keep going. I didn't look back.
So you went on the audition. So you random email, applied online. You got an email immediately.
Yeah.
You went on an audition. You
2
couldn't
weeks
go
later.
to school. You couldn't afford to go.
No,
unless you got a scholarship, and then you got a scholarship.
Then I got a scholarship, not a full one, but then we got the rest of scholarships. In that sense, I think I'm always going to be so insanely grateful to my mom, for my mom. I never know how to say that, because in a lot of cases, I think the normal reaction would be for parents to be kind of like, first of all, you go abroad and it's far and it's expensive and there's no way we can help you, which was my case in that sense of it's. But then when I got a scholarship that was like pretty good, then there was then actually it's not that far off, and my mom just kind of took if it's already this far, let's try everything we can to make it happen. And then if you can't, then at least we tried everything we can.
At least we tried.
Yeah, which is incredible. And my mom was always such a reference for like hard work, and she's always been that way, like started teaching also very early and always doing her things very independent, very and with us, she always gave us everything she could.
She facilitated the path for you.
Yeah, and so we started writing reports that had several pages on why I wanted to go and explaining all these things, and we started knocking on doors in Portugal and went everywhere and tried to get the rest of
get financed.
Get financed, and it worked, and we got it, and so then it was like, I think we had enough for a year, 2 semesters, and then I was there and I got to raise my scholarship there, and then we got renewed with the Portuguese scholarships, and it kind of went, okay, one more semester, and then at some point at the end we were really running out, because then some didn't renew for the 3rd year, because then supposedly it's 4 years, but I managed to do it in 3, so that I was testing out of classes so that I could still graduate before like I wouldn't get more funding, because if not, then it was impossible.
You were up against the clock.
Yeah, and so then at like the last year, I also did a crowdfunding concert here, like really on a, I have 2 more semesters to go, but now this one scholarship didn't renew, and like, how do we do it? And then it worked, because then we,
it's
raised.
Amazing. So you raised enough money to keep going.
Yeah, and graduated, and it was a.
Girl, you are the definition of hustle.
No, but it is about also having the support system, exactly, because if at some point. And that's where I'm really lucky, because I'm sure that if my mom hadn't kind of fought for it with me, and kind of like just the whole family support, and even just telling me like, yeah, if this is what you want to do, then you should pursue it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't. Even that immediately gives you a sense of just that the whole believe in your dream type.
Gives you license too, you know?
Yeah, I have some friends that are amazing musicians, and they never had parents that approve. They kind of still have the whole. Yeah. But when are you getting a real job? And for me, I think that was, for example, a big thing. Yeah. That was never questioned.
So you were, so you ended up at Berkeley on a scholarship. My assumption is that, and given what you just described, you were there to learn. You were not there to play.
Oh yeah. Average sleep was 3 to 5 hours, and when you start, you're meeting a lot of people and doing all the things, and then as you're there, you start discovering a few things. So one of the cool things was that the people that study MP&E, so music production and engineering, they have studio time, and it works by 4-hour slots. It's very interesting because when you're there, it's kind of like, it's like a little world, like a bubble world. And I started, because I started doing my thing, and then these videos, and I started a series. At first was Berkeley Tuesdays, and every Tuesday I would do a video with Berkeley people. And then I was like, well, I should do Berkeley people, where every semester it's a season. And I ended up doing 4 seasons of Berkeley people. And there's all these episodes, and the whole point was go to an ensemble room, not rehearse, not really plan anything. I would just send the song I was thinking of doing, or more or less the arrangement idea, send them like a couple of days before, but we wouldn't, get together and rehearse. And then we'd go to a room, I would put my iPhone, so all of them have so many bloopers, and we're having laugh attacks, and the bloopers are at the end of the video, and I would just edit on iMovie and put it like that, because the whole point was there are 5,000 people like me in this school, and we all do our thing, and how cool would it be to mix it, to join forces. And then exactly, I started doing my thing, and then people in NP&E that were older started saying like, oh, I would love to record it, and then they started offering me time. But then what would happen, like the studio, because they would have to record people, and so then I would have classes and homework, and then do my videos, and then at 6 p.m. really you have like 6 to 10 p.m. and then 10 to 2 a.m. and then you have the session of 2 to 6 a.m. The amount of times I did that, when suddenly I had classes starting at 8 or 9, or but I was just like, I'm here, and
you took advantage of it.
Yeah, maybe next semester I won't be, because and so I was just saying yes to everything,
maximizing your time.
Yeah, sleeping in the school corridor sometimes like an hour and a half before going to class.
But you didn't tell your mom and dad that.
No.
Now
There's
you
two full semesters where I slept on the floor because the landlord couldn't find that I was in the room, but that way I could have like a really cheap rent, because I was sleeping in someone's floor for 2 semesters. I was telling him like, yeah, it's great, I have a roommate, it's great, from Norway, and it's just like taking her. We had 2 duvets in her bed, where the top duvet was my bed, where I would take the duvet to the floor, put half of it under me and half of it on top.
Like a sleeping bag.
Yeah, except very not comfortable at all, because it's wood flooring, and that room also had mice, which was great. Sometimes waking up to like something near my head. Oh, great! But
that's a true American college story.
Yeah,
like
you lived.
You lived what
you're supposed to.
Exactly.
I think it also gives you at least for me, like I actually love having gone through all of it, because still today, anytime I'm playing and the hotel is nice, or anything in life really, I'm always like, this is incredible. Like, I'm so grateful always, because I know when it wasn't maybe as easy, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah. I think it's important, right? It keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
It keeps you grounded. So we go from, a makeshift sleeping bag on the ground, on the floor, in an apartment with mice, to some,
very cute though.
Some incredibly big stages with some very big names that we mentioned at the intro, and so many more. And you've released 8 albums in just a few years. How do you stay creatively energized?
I think just life. I gain a lot from collaborating, really, truly. So I think even if I just, for example, Nazayo was that, like, let's just get together, and every time we get together, like, we just start having fun and music comes out. And so that's one way, because if you get together to play with a friend that you enjoy.
So it's interesting, because I was gonna, I want to ask you about It's Maro, which was the collaboration, the collab series.
Yeah.
And was it? I don't even know if it's an album. It was a series.
A series, yeah.
Whatever it is, it's a project, right?
A project, exactly.
Where you collaborated with, is it 100 artists?
100, yeah.
Yeah. So, is collaboration the fingerprint of Maro? Like, is there a thing in collaboration that is important to you, that inspires you?
Yeah, I think we were just talking about this in the car, actually. I think you really gain a lot from it, whether it's because you mix something and it becomes incredible, whether it's you find out that something doesn't work or you learn, but I've always been such a fan of I've just
you learn from each other, right?
Exactly.
And you make each other better.
Yeah.
And but it
and
seems to be something
think,
really important to you.
Yeah, because I think what I love the most about it is that I find different Maros every time I work with somebody different, or I play and there's also the kid feeling. I don't know if it's because when we're kids there isn't any judgment, right? You're in a park and it's like, oh, this kid, and you start playing and there's the playground feeling, and I feel like every time I get to collaborate, there's that again. It's just like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how different we are, if we speak different languages, different cultures. There's a common thing
like
there,
unifier.
which is music, and that's. But exactly, it's like you get together, and then you not only you share, kind of what you have, and the person shares, and something great comes out of it, but also you really discover different parts of you. I think that because we're so complex, but if you're always doing the same thing, or always alone, or always with one person, then probably you'll have one version of yourself that is there. But when you collaborate and you put yourself in these situations, and you first learn so much, but then exactly you see different things, you feel different things, and just like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Especially in music, it's like I've been so lucky that I get to collaborate with people that I admire and that I love what they do, and I'm a fan. And so there's also the part of like, whoa, it's so it's the feeling of getting to. I was just recording, I don't know, a few weeks ago with this piano player. You'll see it. I think it's. Don't know if I can talk about it yet, but that I absolutely adore, and we did a video, and just getting to see him play in the bit where they were still setting up the things, and I was just like, oh, it's so incredible to
you're in your
witness
element.
It. Yeah.
You are definitely in your element. I mean, the way you speak about these things is it's infectious.
That's good.
Really is. So talk to me about It's Maro. So COVID 2020. We're all locked indoors. Most people are saying, poor me. And you decide to reach out to 100 human beings to collaborate with you. I have a hard time getting one person to come on this podcast.
No.
But you got 100 to collaborate with you. So talk to me about the project, what inspired it, what drove it, and then how it became what it became.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think when everything started shutting down, and obviously, I was privileged not to suffer much from it. I know a lot of people actually went through, but I was just classic lockdown, and like a
in
lot
LA?
of other musicians.
Were you in LA or were you here?
I was in Brazil actually, and then I ended up coming here, and I kept going with the videos here. But I was in this one place, and like many other artists actually, I think it was a movement where people started kind of posting videos and doing these things at a distance, because they were like, well, let's not stop music and art and kind of do what we do and just find a way. And for me it was the same thing. I was like, okay, well, how can I keep doing things and stay, so I don't get depressed or because it was crazy.
Bit of a
right?
mental health thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think music is always therapy for me. Yeah, and
it's therapeutic for the listener more. I can imagine what it is for
me
creator.
it's really therapy. That's why songs come out every time I'm feeling something. It's my way of kind of organizing it all, but through music. And in that case,
you had just graduated Berkeley a year prior. Is that right?
No, before COVID.
Yeah.
No, I graduated in 2017.
Oh, 17. That's right.
And then in 2018, I went to live in LA.
Okay.
2019, I did the whole tour with Jacob.
Okay, that's right.
And then 2020 COVID hit,
Okay.
and I
So you
went
were
to
at
Brazil.
it for a bit. You had been on tour with Jacob.
Exactly.
And so people knew who you were.
Yeah, a bit, I guess. I'm never really aware of how many people
I'm
or
just
how
curious
that
how you
works,
got
yeah.
100 people to collaborate with you.
Well, yeah, at that point, I think I had, yeah, exactly, a lot of already
Followers and
people that were more in the music world,
Yeah.
especially people knew what I did and liked it and respected it, and so it wasn't very hard to reach out and have people wanting to be a part of it, which is amazing. But it started like that. I did a list of all the people that I would love to, and I was gonna do a few videos, and then when I did the list, started writing, oh, this person would be awesome, this person, all these artists that I love, and a lot of them friends, other people that I didn't really know, but I knew, for example, that they followed my work, and so I was like, maybe if I reach out, and by the time I was like, this is close to 100 names, and I was like, well, then let's just do 100. Let's think, because when I started writing, it's like 85 names, And so then I started reaching out and started sending, and it was I would record 5-6 videos a day, and sometimes 10-12 a day, and just send it out and then wait for and it was just that I would choose the song, I would hit the person up, and then they would be like, yeah, I'd love to. It's like, okay, what do you think about this song? Because then that's the thing, I already had this thinking of the artist, I already had, this song would be amazing, and maybe with this arrangement, and so it was also very easy. Maybe that's why people kind of joined, because it was really do you want to do this? And then like, yeah, I was, okay, well, what do you think of this song? And I was thinking of this arrangement, and I would send, they'd be like, love it. And so then they would just get the video, or in some videos, they would do the video if they were instrumentalists too. And then you just record on top. And so it was something that shouldn't take that long.
Right.
And
it was technically easy.
Technically easy, yeah, because then editing was...
So is that where you did the Eric Clapton collaboration?
Exactly.
Yeah. How did that come about?
See, Eric wasn't on my list.
I love Eric Clapton.
Yeah, me too.
Eric Clapton Unplugged.
Yes.
The MTV Unplugged.
Yes.
Might be one of the best albums
one of the
ever
top
made.
things. Yeah, I love that record. It's funny, obviously I didn't write Eric's name on my list. I didn't know him.
You got to dream big, Maro.
Yeah, I do, but in that sense, it didn't cross my mind. With Eric was a bit of a different story, which was I had posted just before I started the series. I had posted a little video of just 1 minute, just singing "Tears in Heaven," just a little bit, and a producer called Russ Tillman that has worked with Eric has been following me since Berkeley times, and I remember at some point I was still at Berkeley. And he called and kind of was, interested in working, and super, just amazing. It's a call that I still remember because he was very, very supportive and very, kind of, it stayed with me because, you're still 21 and sometimes it gets harder. You still consider quitting, or maybe it's not going to work out. And he was really...
You consider doing that at 52 as well.
Yeah, you do. Well, I guess maybe I'll still have some life crisis. But, It was important because he's an amazing producer and has worked with Milton and Eric and other amazing people, and he's older and he has experience, and really called kind of to say dream to work together one day, but more importantly just to say how fantastic he thought I was and how special how I had something that really, and kind of just telling me to please don't ever stop. And it was a call that stayed. And anyways, that same producer Russ, when I posted that little video, he messaged me saying I sent it to Eric, he loved it and would love to hear a full version, which I was like, what? and then the amazing thing was that I was at the time starting to think of the series, and so I decided to just write back to Russ and tell him, well, I'm doing this series, do you think maybe you would be up to do it and we would do it the full version together? And then he said yes. And he put us in contact, and I started talking to him directly, and he was just the sweetest about it, and really humble and really generous and all the things, and I sent him the part, and then he recorded on top, and yeah, I cried a little when I got his video back, because exactly like you, I'm a big fan, and I think he's amazing, and he's part of our music history, right? He's such
now he's
an
part
icon.
of yours.
Yeah, and now it's part of mine, and it was it's very, very, very grateful and very happy that things happened the way they did, and very grateful to Russ because he was really the reason why it happened.
That whole project, and I listened to this story about Eric, it's got to teach you something about community,
Yeah.
about trust, right? About creative resilience, and because Eric Clapton is a legend, but it feels like, to me, in this process, he was giving back to his creative community.
Yeah.
Right? He was trusting,
No, completely.
putting
I mean,
lots of trust in somebody who's young and has lots of opportunity and runway in this
Exactly.
incredible song that is really deeply meaningful to him.
yeah, that's one of the things why that was the biggest reason really why I was also so struck by it all, is that it's a song that it doesn't perform, and it's a really,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's brutal.
it's brutal. It's
Yeah.
a brutal song, and yeah.
So let's move on to Happiness now. We go
Happiness.
from that song to and that time, which was a rough time for the world, right, and for everybody.
Yeah.
And you did your part on trying to lift us up.
Yeah. That was the goal.
You just wrapped up Lifeline,
I did.
and that's shifting from your sort of acoustic tenderness of Ortlan to something more electronic.
Full boom spoons.
Boom, boom. Okay.
Yes.
Raise the roof. You've already talked about this a little bit, but how do you know when it's time to evolve musically?
It's just about I just
Is it a
keep
feeling?
creating, and if suddenly I'm it's about excitement for me. So if suddenly I'm very excited about something, then I just naturally gravitate towards it, where like, oh, I want to, and I start getting ideas, and maybe we should do this, and should do this, and maybe we should just finish the songs and go on tour, and like, it's about excitement for me, which is again, if it's the genuine feeling of
Right.
you do what you love, then I
So
think
it's not
that's
about
clear.
structure, it's about feel.
For me, it's always about feel, but with structure, obviously. Like, I'm very organized and very, I do think ahead, I have the whole foresight of, but it's still exactly. I don't do the reversed way, or where I'm like, okay, I want to be here, and so let me think this is okay. Then I should do this project. It's still not. It's more about feel.
But even musically, like you hear a Charlie Puth speak about music,
Yeah.
and he speaks in logic, right?
Yeah.
And this is I have no idea what any of it means, right?
Yeah.
But this is this part, and this is this part, and if you do it this way, it's very structured
Yeah.
music. Yeah, I was with Charlie Puth, like he sang and performed for a group of corporate executives in Colorado somewhere. Like he was a kid, he was a child.
Yeah.
And then when I hear him speak about his true music talent and like the structure of music, I sort of step back and I'm like, wow, like, but you don't write that way. You
No.
write from, it
For
just
me, it's
comes
always
out.
about yeah.
And then you add the music, the structure.
Exactly. I think it's more about, okay, I do what I love, and then how can I, in an organized way, make it happen? Like, how do I show people? How do I put it out? Like, but the organization system really comes after. Because I think, again, I do believe that for me, I think every case is different. So there's never like this is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that if that's how I do it, it's going to end up working out for my thing, right? It's like I do something that I'm very excited about, and then because then that will spark ideas, and
Right.
then even ideas for how to organize it or even how to release
So
it.
it's
or,
not music theory, it's music feeling.
it's music feeling for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the theory is still there, and I'm aware of
Right.
it, and I know what things are. And again, I did study a lot of years as well, but it's about exactly how I feel. So I can do a very, for example, a song that is very like pop structure or electronic that suddenly has no structure at all, or something acoustic where you change chords every time, exactly, or something that's more jazzy where it could be more complex theory, but I'm not thinking about it. It's what exactly, it's about feeling. It's again about that moment sitting in my dad's car where I cry with Cavalsvidi. It's about that.
Yeah. Do you feel different, like a different artist, or do you feel differently when you write and perform in Portuguese versus English?
No.
How do you choose?
It comes out
Because you are pretty balanced, and you Portuguese and English, like,
yeah.
you go to Spotify and search for Maro, and you know,
there's all of
the
it.
This Is Maro comes out in Portuguese and in English. And
Yeah. It really depends. For example, Hortelã is mainly in Portuguese because it was written at a time where I spent a lot more time in Portugal. And so, again, it's all about, for me, respecting the natural course of things. And I noticed that the pattern is when I start thinking in Portuguese or dreaming in Portuguese, you know, like if I spend here long enough that it goes to Portuguese, then naturally when I sit and write, it's going to come out in Portuguese.
It's sort of where you are. Yeah.
It's totally where I'm from. Because I know that it could be where I sit down and I'm going to write a song. Let me do it in English. It doesn't, I've never done it that way. Maybe one day it'll be that way. I don't know. But it has been this where if I'm working, for example, with Nazai, we always speak in English and then naturally, but for example, even with Nazai, I wrote Chiquitinha, which is in Portuguese, we wrote it in Vila Randelo. And so it's like I was with him,
awesome.
but yeah, I was in my grandpa's house and it's a song about my grandpa. And so naturally, that song actually, I think it's half because I started writing in English, but then at some point there's like a Portuguese verse because there's this thing I wanted to say that was really important. And that's why sometimes it's a mess, but I just respect
but it's your mess.
Yeah. I just respect what's happening in the brain. I don't want to put boundaries ever.
So speaking of feeling, one of my favorite Maro songs is probably not a very popular Maro song. It's a song called Nana.
Nana, yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting the chills.
Yeah.
That song is uniquely Portuguese. I feel you have to be Portuguese to truly, truly understand it. Did you write that? Where did you write that?
I wrote that when I was at Berkeley, actually. Yeah.
Wow. Were you longing and missing your family, your
it was. I wrote it on my. It's funny because I wrote it in my last semester, and I knew I'm probably gonna go to LA or something, and it was it was this idea of. But that's one of the rare cases. Usually I write music and lyrics. And that was one of the rare cases where I had that, and I was kind of always playing it on the guitar and in loop. And then later in 2018, I ended up living this situation where then the lyrics came after. But that song for me, you're talking about Nana, right? Not Mariana, yeah. It's. That's one of the examples that I hear, and I'm like, I can tell that I heard a lot of João Afonso, for example, the Missangas record, you know, where the little pattern in the voices, and there's a bit of that essence. Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Thank you. Speaking of beautiful songs, you introduced the world to the word saudade through your Eurovision
maybe
performance.
Maybe Cesária before as well.
The word holds a lot of emotional weight in Portuguese culture. How do you define saudade?
I think it's for me, because I know that sometimes people are even on Google, you have these explanations on, it's this nostalgic feeling. For me, it's just
like trying to describe fado. I'm like, you gotta listen to it.
Yeah. But for me, saudade is actually more, maybe because I am a pragmatic person, but for me, saudade is more like when you just miss something, you have saudade, right? Yeah, and so it's that feeling of, but you can have saudade of somebody, of a place, of a feeling. But it's still really about the really truly missing something, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was that. I mean, in that case, the song is about my grandpa that was, that left and, as in died, not that. Went to
left us
an Asia trip and never came back. And exactly the whole like, I miss him around, I miss him talking, I miss him, but it's still about this like missing him feeling.
Yeah. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful word.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the word saudade.
Yeah. Hard to say when you're not Portuguese.
Yeah. People say it always in the cutest way. I love it. I love your song, saudade. They say, or sometimes they say saudade, which I love it too.
Well, people call me Goncalves.
Wow. Yeah, classic too.
So you've been praised by artists like Billie Eilish and John Mayer. We talked about Billie Eilish saying that song was the soundtrack, for her time in COVID. Like, I'm sure that wasn't planned. It came out. What was the feeling when you saw that and read that?
It was amazing. I think anytime, and I mean, Billy is huge, but it could also be somebody that is not even maybe known worldwide, but I think anytime you have somebody that you respect, you admire, you love what they do, which is for me, obviously Billy, like I love her music, and I think she's been doing incredible things from day one, really. But it's not even about her world recognition, even though it's incredible. But I think the feeling of having somebody that you admire in many ways, right, and work-wise, but also personally, which I have that with her, saying something about what you do and kind of appreciating what you do, I think that's incredible. That's such a
validation.
Yeah, not even about validation, because I think I have that with myself. I mean, the whole world could hate what I do, and I would still do it with same. Not really. It's not about
That's
validation. Great. It's just more about, you know, if maybe sometimes you're not feeling so. I don't know.
It's
like,
uplifting. It's
uplifting, and it's a tap on the shoulder of like it's working out,
like
and
you got it.
Yeah, because in this case, is I'm from Portugal, and I post things on Instagram, and then it reaches her or reaches other people that I love and that I would never dream of working with, and so I think it's more about that. It does a little, like, it's a little keep going.
Shoulder.
Yeah, it's a pat on the shoulder.
Yeah. We got to start wrapping up, but I can't wrap up without talking about your next album. You're working on an album, is that right?
Yeah, I recorded it last year. It has been recorded for a year now, and it's in the drawer, and it's finally, we're finally.
How do you know when you're ready?
In this case was because I was still doing the trio tour and absolutely loving it. We didn't talk about it, but the whole 3 guitars and voice with Dario and Pau, 2 incredible guitarists, and
incredible guitarists, and people should go look at NPR Tiny Desk concerts and watch you.
You can see their names there, and I tag them everywhere.
Play, which is just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, they're brilliant. They're really incredible, and even their music. I mean, in the show, we got to. Like, they had a moment where each one would play a song of theirs, and so their music as well, what they write is absolutely beautiful. And
so you've been touring with them, and so you've been and so you haven't had time.
Yeah, I took the only month off of 2024, and I went and recorded it just because, there's this one month I can do it, and then I kept on the trio tour, and it was so amazing, but also so exhausting, and so I was really wanting to still be kind of like in it for fully. That I just thought, okay, the album is for next year. Let me just go. And then we did Lifeline, released that, went on that tour, and says, okay. And then after comes my record. There's no rush, I'm still writing other things. This year, hopefully, I'll record a few more projects. So you're writing your next 3 albums already? Yeah, actually, they're not far from the truth. So it's just more. Every time I have time, or I'll keep recording, keep creating, and then again, it's about. The organization will come later, and will come. I like doing things in a structured manner, but it's all about kind of trying to create as much as I can. Seems like you like to create
unstructured, but then you like to structure as you're trying to put stuff out.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Shawn Mendes, you're going to be part of his European tour.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah, I think he's incredible, and I mean, not only the big shows, but really the whole. Getting to experience that on a like being invited for it and being a part of the world. I think it's again another thing to be grateful for. I'm always be like, well, I really want to enjoy every bit of it because it's incredible.
And I bet the Portuguese roots carry a special meaning there.
Yeah,
well.
We do joke about it a lot because exactly his dad is Portuguese, really. So there's the little connection link that is funny. Yeah.
Awesome. Before we wrap up, a couple final questions for you. What's the one value or characteristic that you believe defines the Portuguese people?
Oh, there are many great ones. I mean, I guess we were talking about, I don't know if that's a proper answer, but the whole family kind of relationship, very about
rooted in family.
Connection and in a like family way. I think that's a big thing because it translates to kind of everything we do. Yeah,
indeed. So now you live in LA, you're at a table with friends, someone's inevitably planning a trip to Portugal because Portugal está na moda. It's in the zeitgeist right now. What's on your recommendation list? What should they eat? Not where. What should they eat? What should they drink? What should they avoid?
Oh, okay. Well, eat. I guess people always say the pastel de blé, but honestly, it's true. It's true, guys. You should pastel de blé. Or any pastel nut, but it's good. But it's, yeah, I just took a friend there.
But the OG is the OG, right?
Yeah, I just took a friend there, the, Australian, also here for 2 days. It's like, you gotta try this. What should they see, you said?
Well, what should they eat? What should they drink? What should they avoid?
Drink? Well, drink, I think there's all these things that you should try, right? Ginginha and vinho do Porto, all this. We have so many great things that I think are great to try. Avoid maybe the whole, because it's getting more and more touristy, you also have more like tourist restaurants. So you should go to a tasca with somebody Portuguese, no? You should go to uma tasquinha where food shouldn't be still very expensive and it should be amazing, like.
And you should eat the prato do dia, right?
You should eat the prato do dia. Yeah. How is it, like the daily
It's the
dish?
daily special, right?
Daily special,
it's like
yeah.
The blue plate special.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right?
And I'm a sucker for soup. So I always, and any place I go, and especially
Caldo verde, sopa de legumes, or
sopa de legumes, yeah, juliana, feijão verde, alho francês, like any, yeah, if you like soup. I think that's one of the best things we have, is that any restaurant like this that you go to, we have amazing soup, which is not, you don't find this in other places, I feel like. And
There's
not in the
soup.
States.
There's
I can't find
soup.
my little soup in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Nemia Shketa, the basketball player, on. And he also said, "There's nothing like a bitok in a tasca."
Wow. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
tasca food.
Yeah, it's tasca. That's the place to.
That's the place to go.
Yeah, I
Find
can't really
tasca.
recommend like a thing to eat, because I feel like that's one of the things I miss, because Portugal has so much incredible food.
Yeah. It's hard to pinpoint, right?
Yeah.
It's
I think we're all proud of it. Yeah, have you noticed?
Of course we
Every
are.
time we talk about, Portugal, and you're with somebody Portuguese or even abroad, and you're like, oh yeah, but there's nothing like our food.
Listen, as Portuguese, we're having a 3-hour lunch and we're talking about where we're going to have dinner, and then we're having dinner and we're talking about where we're going to have lunch tomorrow and with whom and why, and
exactly,
and it's all planned, and and then I'm going to that place because there's an amazing cozido português. Like,
exactly. I kind of love it, because that's, I think, and I mean, Italians and Greeks, like there's a lot of other cultures that have that too. I think the magic about it is not just that you're appreciating the food, but it's really, exactly, you're saying the 3-hour lunches, but that's the magic of it. You have 3 hours with people that generally, like, right, you love and you love hanging with, and you're there bonding.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so incredible.
People you're just meeting, because that is the commonality. Rosemary and I were here a few months ago, and a friend invited us to lunch at their house on a Sunday to introduce us to another friend. It was 6:00 when we left.
Wow. Yeah, right? I love those. I love those lunches. They're my favorite.
6:00 when we left. Maro, you remind us that you don't have to be loud to be powerful, that staying true to your voice can move the world. Obrigado, Maro. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. More inspiring conversations and inspiring people and game changers to come. Obrigado.
Obrigado eu.